10 months ago, I made a video on cost of living for a student life edition. And when the other day I was checking my expenses, I was like, let's make another one, but this time for a work life edition. Over the years, what I've learned is as you grow, your lifestyle changes, so do your expenses. So let's start with accommodation. As a student, I was paying around 400 euros a month for living in a co-house, which was a good deal because I was living in a big house with 6 rooms, a shared kitchen, a big living and a dining space, and a garden. For starters, I do still stay in the same room and I also pay the same rent. For me, it's a simple thought process. If you continued working for the same employer on similar roles for a year, you can expect an average increment of 300 to 400 euros on your monthly salary the next year, which of course is very subjective. But if you save that now, it's like you're already living a year ahead, at least financially speaking. I mean, it involves many things, but because this video is mostly about cost of living, we'll try to limit our focus here. After covering the big portion of accommodation expense, then comes the food. Ideally, it shouldn't change that much from student life to now, because it's just been 10 months so far. But a few months ago, we had a new housemate, and she's involving everyone in cooking together sessions quite often, which is giving me the opportunity to learn about variety of dishes. I mean, I was already learning, but when you involve yourself in actual cooking, it's a different thing. I would say I'm a fairly decent cook when it comes to Indian cuisine, but now I have also developed an interest for exploring into different options. So I buy groceries worth of 200 euros to explore that interest, but I also go for eating out. I cannot really put a specific number on that, but let's just say 100 if I'm buying for myself and 200 if I'm going out with a group of friends in a nice place. But I try to cook as much as possible by doing things like meal prep, which doesn't cost too much, plus it can be very healthy depending on what you cook. I'm a vegetarian, by the way, and trust me, if you tried cooking, you can have many options for the meal prep as well. Then comes the parties and occasional going out. The party culture for me has slowed down drastically since I graduated, but we do go out almost every weekend for drinks, coffees, or just for going out. And I've noticed I spend around 20 euros a week, translating 80 to 100 euros a month, which can be reduced, but we'll think about that later. Now comes the another giant expense of transportation. I live in the Ghent city, but I work in a different city about 50 kilometers away. So naturally, I walk 100 kilometers a day. Fortunately, I have a hybrid job, which means I don't have to be in the office every day, which is of course nice for my legs. But in order to hide my superhuman capabilities, I take trains and also wear the glasses. The monthly train pass costs around 160 euros, but I also have to travel from my house to the train station and from the different train station to the office, which I could have done that by bus, by buying a monthly bus pass, but I like biking. It's nice, and you also reduce the dependency for waiting for a bus. So I have one bike in the house and the other one in a different train station in another city. Both of them are rented and I pay around 40 euros for them. I get it, I could have just buy it. I thought about it, but I also thought that I don't buy bikes every day. So I was thinking to buy a nice foldable one around 800 euros. But then I was also thinking to buy an electric foldable one for more comfort. But then I also want a new laptop, a phone, this and that. So I decided to prioritize what I want right now. To conclude, it will happen, but not immediately. Also, my transportation costs are reimbursed by my employer. Plus, I also get some food coupons. If not, then it's an expense. After transportation, most of the big costs are already covered. But then you also have few smaller expenses like insurance, phone and Wi-Fi. Fortunately, all or most of that is covered by companies generally, but I also have to pay a smaller share from my end, which adds up to around 10 euros a month, which is a good save because otherwise you have to pay around 15 euros just for your phone recharge. Then we also have gym. It's another small expense which costs up to 20 euros a month. I go to a nice gym chain called as Basic Fit, which is nice, cheap, and it's also very close by, so that's good. But by this time, the total adds up to 1,030 euros a month, which is already 200 euro extra than what I was having as a student. Plus, we haven't calculated the miscellaneous expenses yet. But anyways, the miscellaneous expense or costs can be for clothes, leisure, or any additional expense which is not fixed every month. As a student, I barely had any furniture in my room. But when I got the confirmation that I will continue to stay at the same place, I started investing in it step by step. So now I have a nice livable space, which doesn't come for free. So that was a miscellaneous cost. Plus the bike I was talking about earlier will be too. Damn, a 2-year younger version of myself dealing in rupees wouldn't have liked the fact that I was even considering to buy a bike worth of 800 euros. But at least I saved with the rent. Just to give you an idea, if you want a nicer studio for 1 or 2 person, it can cost around 600 euros for the private one. Plus the energy costs are separated. I also thought about that because I was thinking, what if I just move to the city where I work? But I like this house because of the lovely housemates that I have and the general social circle in the city, which is very important for almost everyone, but especially if you literally jump from one continent to another. But in general, the miscellaneous costs could be anything. Let's take an average of 300 euros a month because you need to travel and buy things. A month, it could be less than 100. Nah, that never happens. The other, it could be 1,000 euros. Yes, that's of course is true. So it depends. But it could be around 1,300 to 1,400 euros, including the miscellaneous expense. In general, let's take 1,500 could be a realistic representation of your cost of living if you earn more than that. Just to put it out there, I came here on an education loan, so I also have to pay it back with monthly installments, but I wouldn't count it as a cost of living here. Now for students, you can definitely survive for less than that. If you want more information about that, then you can definitely check this one. But if you're planning to come here for work-related activities, then you can also find additional information on my channel regarding taxes and average earnings that you can have in different European cities. So thank you for the visit and see you in the next one.